because now we'll look at this. So there's the point of this is just like I'm gonna put up a web server, an API server, and you were wondering about the CI/CD, so I'll include that in this. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just show you. I have a project. It's set up with these two files. Actually, I'll show you the stuff that you know first. This is obviously an app. This is.
Oh, it's blurring on my screen. Is it on yours, Henry?
Yeah, it's fairly blurry.
Okay.
OBS?
Yeah, really. Let me do this.
It's only the part that changed. Like, yeah, it's weird. Only part of the window. There we go.
Oh. Is that blurry?
That's much better.
Yeah.
It's like actually your screen.
Yeah, that's actually my screen. All right. So, okay. So anyway, so this is the index file of my API server, and I don't know if you know what Express is. Have you ever used that?
For Node?
For
API.
Node, yeah.
I have not used it, but I know what it is for. What it is, kind of, that it's associated with Node.
Yeah. So it's basically the Node easy. Like I need some endpoints, and I'm gonna route things to functions. So if I get a GET request on / inside of this, then I run this function and I return hello world, basically. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
So this is Node right here.
Yeah, this is just Node. I just wrote.
So wait. Explain. Hold on.
Cool.
Explain again what exactly. Okay, it is blurring again. But explain again what exactly is Express in relation to Node.
Express is like Node's easy, off-the-shelf like web server type thing.
Okay.
Basically. So now if you want to use Express inside of Lambda, which is AWS's thing, enough people wanted to do that, they made this AWS Serverless Express, which serverless kind of has to do with Lambda. And it's just like a shim for getting it to work inside of that. So this is the root of our thing, and I just set up a proxy from this thing. I just followed the instructions for it, quite honestly. And
Okay. It's blurring again, but can you link the stream? Maybe it's not blurry there.
Yeah, it'll be, I think, on a slight delay.
Okay.
Oh, but that won't matter to you, because you will be able to listen to me.
Then we can't like. Oh, I see. But then what we're seeing is kind of like delayed.
It'll be delayed by like
it'll be better than the blur.
Not
because I can't even see the words on.
Yeah, I can see some words, or like or I can make out to be some words are.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second.
And one other question I was going to ask is related to this project. Is this a project, like this whole project, the API-gateway-example, you created everything here? This wasn't something you pulled out of.
This is okay. I pulled bits and pieces out of other places that I've worked on stuff, but.
But overall, you pretty much organized it and wrote it.
Yeah, I some of the Express stuff I looked up how to do that and pulled from that.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of the other stuff is mine. Where is my link? No. Ah, here it is. I suppose I could do. I suppose I could see if you can click that, and if it's better.
Where's that? Okay. Yeah, so much clearer. Actually, change your screen again. Change your screen. I don't like hearing myself though, but
Yeah, just so mute the stream on the thingamajig.
okay, but it messes up when you flip through files or something like that. So try to go to another tab or open up a new file.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like super crystal clear
Cool.
on the stream. So
Yeah,
what is it? Is it Discord that's messed up?
Yeah, it's Discord and kind of how that works. Henry, are you watching the stream too?
I don't hear Henry either. Maybe he stepped out.
Oh,
I'm gonna.
yeah, I can hear it.
And
can you see the stream?
Are you watching the stream?
Yeah, it is very clear. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen then.
Yeah, I'm gonna just load up the YouTube on my PC since everything's on there.
Yep.
So how do we communicate?
We're on Discord.
On Discord, but just mute the audio from the stream. So you can't hear yourself.
We're bootlegging.
Yeah, basically you're bootlegging.
Why do I hear myself? I'm hearing myself. Oh, never mind. I forgot to mute my thing. Sorry. I just opened it up again, but I forgot to mute it.
Good job.
Okay, there we go. Ready.
Actually, somebody unmute the stream. Make sure you can hear me on the stream. I think you can.
Hold on.
Because I actually forgot to check that.
I have to mute the Discord one.
Oh, good point. Well, you should hear me delayed, or you hear me twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds it. About
Go
right.
ahead and mute everything then. Okay. So back to this. So this is just a node.
It's beautiful.
Node server. You would be able to run this like in Express or using Node, and you'd end up with a thing on your server or on your machine.
Yeah.
So this thing wraps it into kind of the AWS Lambda world. You could just host this thing on a server in AWS. This is a much easier way.
Just to recap again, because since everything's in between you going through the swapping. So this was to put Lambda within Express or the other way around, or what exactly was this again?
Lambda will run a function on demand that runs Node. And then this is just
via Express.
So this is just I'm going to use the Express library to set up a bunch of routes that if I get a request at /, I'll execute this function. If I put in router.get like /user and so on and so forth, like I'll return
username or something.
Yeah.
So you gotta, I don't know about Henry, but I have very little backend and full stack experience, so I understand a little bit of this.
Yep.
But what this is these two lines 14 to 20.
Yep.
Basically, when someone visits one of these routes, like they just type in whatever edo.com/user, you're just gonna get user1.
Yeah, you'll just get this. You'll get this in JSON back. And that's
is it in the console? Is that what it's doing?
Is it in the console? No. This is literally the response from the server will be this JSON, and I'll show you that.
Okay, yeah. Like I don't know. To me, I don't know where this goes. Where do I see this user1? I don't see where that appears.
You've made backend requests before from your front end code, right? You've done that into Google and into other places. This is the response that your front end code would get, is this JSON bit.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you do a bunch of work.
So like this would be like, instead you could be pulling from a database or something.
Yeah, you do some database work, you do some server-side work, and then you prepare your response for the client, and then you send it back to the client.
And then I can consume this on whatever my front end components is. Okay, I see. Right. All right. So this is the object that's okay. All right, now I see what's going on.
And all of this stuff is just like facilitating the setup of that.
Yeah.
And same with this bit. It's facilitating the setup of that. So now I'm set up in such a way that I can just like do router dot get or post or whatever and make a new route, and that's it.
Just to get a new object or whatever.
Yep.
And everything above 14 is boilerplate, basically, or at least from what you're doing here.
For all intents and purposes of this, yeah, it's boilerplate.
Yeah.
If you wanted to start out over again, this would be boilerplate until you wanted to change it.
Okay, so basically if I just wanted to play around with it, it's the same exact thing you're doing.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll show you the version that is, if you want to play around, and I'm about to do that, is if you want to play around with this as a starting point, you only need to do two things.
Okay. Install Node?
Nope, you don't even have to install Node. Because we're running in the
cloud. It's
cloud.
running on AWS. I see. So what does your package.json look like for this project?
The package.json is it's legitimate. There's all sorts of things happening in it.
What packages are actually being...
Sure, so I got Express, cores.
Okay, so just whatever you're doing in the boilerplate, but there's no actual... I see. Serverless Express is the thing that's doing it.
Yep.
And Express. Okay, makes sense.
And Express, and then these two are facilitating some stuff inside of there. I had to tell it what dependencies I wanted to bundle in because I need those dependencies when I actually make a package of this. But I mean, it's all fairly. There's nothing too different than you would normally do in any other thing.
Okay, got it.
So that's our app. This thing is the first AWS thing that. Well, this is part of the CI/CD. So never mind. Let me just jump to the how would I get started with it. So this thing called code pipeline, and I'll switch back to here. So there's this thing called code pipeline on AWS. And this is, if you've ever used something like Jenkins, or you hear people talk about CI/CD, anything, it's all about setting up these pipelines. And I don't have any right now in this region, but we're going to make one. So this file here, I'll kind of just tell you at the moment that this will set up my pipeline. It'll be easier to see once it's deployed. It does a bunch of stuff. It sets up a bunch of AWS stuff, but it does it in such a way that you only have to specify it once. And this is called a CloudFormation file. And it's probably the best way to interact with AWS, albeit it takes some getting used to. Because you can go through here and you can click create pipeline and like give it a name and then like start messing with this UI here. But you have to remember that it's set up and it's there and what depends on it, and like there's a lot of things, there's a lot of cognitive overhead for you in that way. So you make these CloudFormation files. And this is where things get completely repeatable. This is like the most powerful thing in the cloud, is you have all these disparate services and you package them up into a code file effectively, or a configuration file, and you say, give me this setup. And once you do that and you follow that, you can repeat that setup as many times as you want.
So this is for your AWS account or whatever on your all those services you were pointing out. This is what you're saying is this pulls in whatever your stack or whatever.
Yeah. So you make one of these and you say, look, I want a code, or actually looking at this one is probably easier. So this is the one that actually like sets up the API gateway and the function that backs that gateway. All this says is I would like a AWS Serverless API, which is just a type of a thing that corresponds with something that AWS offers. And I would like an AWS Serverless function. Don't worry about what these mean right now, but basically I just want these two things. Set them up for me, please. And then output the API ID and the API URL. And when you're done with that, let me know.
And then it builds it all on your account. What do you call that? The console account? When you look at the AWS on the browser, what are you calling that?
I usually call it the console, but...
So all this stuff, once you run it here, will be built over there.
It will be provisioned for you, because this is this is like an infrastructure file.
Right. So it'll be just set up. It'll be set up for you to use here.
Yeah, that's exactly
right. So it's a configuration for that. Okay.
Right. So if we go over here, you go to the CloudFormation console and you say, you know, I would like to create a stack. And so I'm going to upload a template file and I'm going to give it, this is just my thing. And this one is set up, this project is set up in such a way that I have a CI/CD thing. So this is the way that I handle that, is I'm just going to give it the code pipeline thing. And I'm going to say, for this, set up a code pipeline for this project. It is called a example. This stuff I happen to put here because I wanted to know what it is. You can build it off of a different branch. You know, I'm the owner of it. This is the repo name. I need an auth token. I hit next. And after I hit next, and these things are just like verifying what I'm doing. This is not terribly complicated. And you say it's going to make some roles, which don't worry about that at the moment. And then it starts up, and it gives you output about what it's doing. Along the way, you can see, okay, I'm creating this thing. It's creating me an S3 bucket. It's creating me this IAM role. It's creating me this role.
Wait, so what it's doing now, this is from that configuration file you were...
Right. So I uploaded this file. And this file has...
If you're on another screen, I don't see anything.
I'm sorry. Nope, wrong.
So that code pipeline .yaml file is what you uploaded here, and then it's just setting everything up for you.
Yeah, so it's going through and executing that YAML file, and it's saying, I see that you want this, let me make that for you. I see that you want this, let me make that for you. I see that you want this, let me make that for you. And it's doing all that under this umbrella of the name that I gave it. I now have this API Gateway example.
Okay.
Which is neat. Because
are there like templates for this, or like how do you learn all this?
So there you can search around on the internet, you can do all that stuff, but you also have yes.
I think you have to switch screens again.
I do. You are correct. So the documentation is here. You can go here, you can say, what can I do? Oops. Probably.
Good formation. Good formation.
This one. So there's this whole documentation where this is the template reference. So this is pretty much every service on AWS and how to use it with CloudFormation. Like if I want a Lambda function, this is kind of what it looks like. This is what it looks like in YAML. And it gives you the properties and what you would set up and so on and so forth.
Okay, so you basically copy and pasted this and just
And then
plugged in some of the numbers.
and customize.
Yeah.
There's also one that takes it a level higher that I'll tell you about in a little bit. That makes it a little bit easier to do this type of stuff.
Right.
I see.
Because it's pretty. There's a lot just right now.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
A lot to show. It's not in bits and pieces, basically.
Right, but it's in pieces that. So I'm telling you right now, by the end of this thing, you'll be able to ignore what this file does.
Okay.
And you'll be able to ignore what this file does.
But when you say that, you're saying we use that file, but just don't really get into what it's doing.
Correct. So this is
you created this file.
I created this file.
Okay.
So this is black boxed, and this will be like semi black boxed, and you'll know how to like add stuff to it, but not necessarily everything that it's doing, just that it is working.
Okay, so that's good to know then.
And then as you wonder about it, you can then go through and kind of figure out some of this stuff, like, or ask specific questions about it.
Yeah, reverse engineer or something.
Right, exactly. So this is done. This API Gateway thing, and you can see that this thing popped up. Right. This I didn't put this here.
Right.
So what happened here? So this made me a bucket, a project, a pipeline, and 2 roles, 3 roles. So
what's a role?
A role is like something that this is what anything IAM AWS uses as permission. Is identity access management. So like, in order, even though I wrote this file had to give permission to the project to do some stuff. It had to give permission to the pipeline to do some stuff. Like this bucket, I had to give this project access to this bucket. So these are a way of collecting those permissions together. Probably out of scope for what this thing is doing, but
yeah,
this is a whole thing in and of itself.
Okay. Actually, were you gonna ask something, Henry?
No.
So for one, all these things on whatever logical ID and all these little rows, all these are available when you sign up onto AWS. It's not like you have to unlock any of these, right?
No.
So
AWS is not an unlockable thing.
Okay, so if you gave us this project or even that specific file, we can run this and get the same exact thing just right out of the box.
Yeah, the only thing that you're missing that is you would need is this GitHub OAuth token, which I could show you how to make.
A GitHub OAuth token. Okay, so I think that's. So does AWS have an app on GitHub, or no? You have to do it like this.
No. So this is and I'll show you where that comes into play. But yeah, we're about to get there.
Okay, all right. So, but then otherwise, other than connecting it to GitHub, this is your turnkey solution for us to start up if we wanted to do this, like the configuration.
Yeah, exactly.
On this left side, are these 3 projects using the same configuration or just the top 2?
No, so this is using this configuration, which is with the file that we uploaded. So you can see that it's kind of what it kind of looks like. This one, if you look at it, this is completely different.
It's JSON, right?
This is A, it's JSON. B, it's like provisioning completely different things.
Yes.
If you look at kind of the high level thing, which is like this, this has a bucket, a role, a Lambda function, a RoboMaker application.
Yeah, some of the same things between the 2.
All sorts of stuff. And then this one has an API Gateway REST API, some deployment. Like they're all CloudFormation files, but they're provisioning different things.
I see. So I didn't notice if the top 2 were the same thing or not, because they have kind of similar names.
Right. So and I'll show you why those have similar names.
But the one you're working on is the one in the middle.
This is the one that we uploaded, yeah.
Okay.
So this thing uploaded. I guess I didn't do put, but this thing uploaded this code pipeline. Called API Gateway Example, which is the kind of top level thing that we were doing.
Yes.
So let's go to code pipeline and look at it, and it shows up here. So this section of AWS is solely built for managing these pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
So we click on the pipeline and we see what we set up. So what did I set up? I set up a source location. This is a pipeline. It's what it looks like visually.
Mm-hmm.
You start with some source. You build it. You
GitHub.
change stage your change set, and you deploy it, basically. These are all, every single one of these steps is an optional step that I decided what it was. And I can show you how at some other time how I did this and why I did this. But the key takeaway is that I grabbed some source from GitHub. This is the source location. It's basically, it pulls the comment from GitHub. It clicks over to GitHub. You can see what the change was, so on and so forth. But you can see the configuration was, here's the owner, here's the repo, on the branch master, and it uses that that OAuth token to authorize this in GitHub.
Okay.
In GitHub.
Right. So you got your token from here and gave it to GitHub.
Yeah, in order to effectively log in.
Okay.
To a certain degree. So then it builds, and we end up with some artifacts of our build that I had named post-build output. And that basically gets so the artifact of this one is the code itself. It goes to the build machine, and it brings out some artifacts. And then because the artifact of this build is a CloudFormation file, then I sent this step sends that CloudFormation file to CloudFormation, and then deploys it on CloudFormation. So this thing, this stack that showed up, this is the output of, or this is basically this step right here.
Oh, so they are related.
They're related, and so I tied them together by taking this name, saying this is the production deployment of this thing.
Yes. Okay.
They're provisioning different things, but they're part of the same. Like, I did this, and then the pipeline ran. And you can go in here and you can say, great, what's the history of this? Like, this is the last time it was run. It took 2 minutes and 50 seconds. All that good stuff. And you can also say, I want to run my changes through again. No problem, and it'll do that for you.
Okay.
So then,
if you had like a set of tests, where would you put that?
So yeah, so you could do source build, build, which could include test inside of it.
I see.
Or you could explicitly test separately. Both are available.
Oh, okay, nice.
But so like the first whatever on the other screen, the build or whatever before it's on the pull, the non-production one. That's kind of like a staging then.
This bit.
No, go to the other screen where it showed the stage change set, I guess is what it is. But
the stage change set is a specific thing that I kind of named it this. It's basically sending over the CloudFormation file and checking that the CloudFormation file is safe to run, or at least provide
before it goes to production.
Because you can now see it in CloudFormation, but you can actually put another step right in here, which is an approval step, which is basically a human has to go into this tool and press go.
Yes, okay, so that's kind of what my question is getting at. So if you go back to the other one,
which other one?
The other screen, where it showed the production and the non-production one.
So it's not production and non-production, but this is the pipeline in this.
Yeah, so what is this screen? What is the screen?
So this is
CloudFormation?
the CloudFormation
screen. Okay, so the difference between these two is the one that just says API Gateway example, the one you have selected now, is what you're working on. Like if you make changes here onto this project, it's does it automatically just go all the way to production? What if you like?
like this is your these are considered your stacks. So these are like if you had a deployment of machines in like or like a setup that you liked on your machine. This would be your setup. So I have a machine, you could think of it as I have a machine set up for this pipeline, and then I have a machine set up as my API server, my API deployment.
Okay. Oh, it's the actual deployment. Okay.
Right. It's the deployment of these things, and the pipeline itself is a deployment, and this thing is a deployment of infrastructure. They're your stacks. And then this one, for whatever it's worth, this one is a deployment that helps me work on robots, and that's all it is. It was like a demo that they had at the last conference. So we know that it's now deployed because our pipeline ran all the way through, and it was green all the way through. So, and it showed up.
Can you make changes to the source, and can we see what happens?
Yep, I'll do that too. But first, we should check and see if our, verify that this is deployed.
Yes, so like it showed up somewhere.
Yeah. So if you remember here, I was kind of alluding to the fact that this one had outputs, and it says,
at the bottom.
Like, tell me about the API ID and tell me about the URL. So if we go to outputs here, you can see this thing was generated as just a key as part of the deployment.
Switch your screen again.
Oops, shoot. Yeah. This thing was generated as part of the just like randomly generated.
Okay. So this is like your console. I see. What does the one in the middle, just the non-production deployment one on the left?
Yeah.
On the left, on the API, that one. So that one does not have any.
Only because I didn't specify any. Like I decide what the outputs are, and maybe I should have made some outputs, but yeah, I didn't.
Okay, so when it deployed, it made the outputs.
Yep. Yeah. And so these are very specific things about the environment that I wanted to output.
Right.
If you look at the file it comes from, this grabs values like this is a reference to my API. My API is this thing. This is a thing in AWS that it makes a setup that is this, and if you ask for the reference to it, it'll give you back like the idea. And then this output, I said, is HTTPS, that gobbledygook like generated thing in this region, and this is the URL. So then if I click on that, I have that URL here. And if I click on it, I get what I expected. Right? This is actually issuing a request to AWS to this URL, which they're routing to my code, and my code executes, and this is what it gives me back.
Can you show me where you have this in your code again?
Yep.
Is it in the app.js? Where'd you put it?
Yep.
And is this the root of the? Okay, it's the prod. Okay, so that's the root. So if you went to, so you had one that said user and then the user one. So if you made that again.
Yeah, if you wanted to like do this bit.
Yeah, if you did that same thing.
Do like user name. So, and then we get this and adding endpoint. Oh, actually, I have to do one more thing. So this adds it to my code, right?
Okay, we only see your code screen, not you committing it.
Right. I didn't commit. At least
this is good to see the pipeline, see the flow.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, this was something that I was going to show you as well. So you've got the user, right? I want to add this as an endpoint.
As a route, basically.
As a route. So inside my code, it's added as a route like this. No problem.
Yes.
No problem.
Right.
But
This is going to cut. So, would you be able to run this on local? You're always just going to run it through AWS regardless, because it's just.
you could run it on local. I think you.
But is there really no, since it's all set up to be run with the Lambda function on AWS anyways, just might as well do it there?
Yeah, I mean, there's advantages to running it locally, but I didn't set up the project to run in both modes, but it can be set up that way.
Okay, but once you make the changes, you'll only see it live on the AWS whoever if you commit it though. So that's the thing.
Correct.
Okay,
Because
so then that's the drawback or whatever.
Yeah, the pipeline itself is just looking at the master branch and saying, whenever anything happens here, I'm going to run.
Right, because it doesn't know anything about your actual code in WebStorm. Okay.
Right. Doesn't even care. So
okay.
This adds the route in my code. If I go to this file, this is the important part of this bit. This is the function as far as AWS is concerned. It's running node 10, so on and so forth. That doesn't really matter. But these events are telling it important information about the routing, and that's probably all you need to know about that at the moment.
Okay.
So when you add a route, you would come in here, you would copy, paste the route over again.
So you got to manually do it here as well.
So you do have to do it in two spots, only because AWS is setting up infrastructure about the route that's routing to this function, and then once it gets to your function, it's routing inside your code to the location to run the thing. So they're two disjoint things that don't.
This has got to be pretty huge then for actual websites like with a lot of different routes.
I would imagine there's some way to automate it.
Not a way to automate it, but there's a way to organize it.
Okay.
So there's no reason why you have to have a single function running all of your API now, because it's all serverless.
Okay.
So a lot of times what will happen is I'll have a function, it'll have a get, post, put, delete for the same path. That'll be handled by one function. But there are ways of sharing this across multiple projects.
Okay.
And so you're able to make these little projects that handle little bits of your API. But I'd have to show you kind of how to expand this to that.
Yeah, so right now you're just making the route for that user one.
Yeah, so now there'll be a user route, and
that key right there, could you have named it anything you wanted?
Yeah, this could be anything.
Okay.
It just needs a name.
Right, but user is the one that made sense. Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
This is the important part of this, is this reference is the REST API ID, and so it goes back to my API. This attaches it to that. And this is the other important part, is I'm attaching to user and a get method. So when I get user, I'm going to call this function. That's all this is doing.
Which function is it?
The whole thing?
This is the deployment of this is considered a cloud function or a Lambda function. That's what they call them. So this is
serverless.
This is serverless, yeah.
Okay.
So that ends up, so you can see this handler goes to source index handler here. And that's how that gets tied together. And then, basically this is the web at large. This is the internet, and you're tying this. This is what ties the internet to calling this function. If that makes sense. It's a little bit of a roundabout way of explaining it.
It's like within the actual function it's being called or something.
I'm so curious, what's the difference between like how's this serverless? It almost looks like servered. Well, I'm just thinking of like the of Express and Node. Like it's exactly what I would have in a servered.
It is, but you didn't deploy it onto a server.
It's on the cloud.
Right? I didn't go and like get an EC2 box, and you don't see me in a console like deploying some stuff I'm not messing with any of that. I literally just gave it some code and said, hey, attach this code, basically this bit on the top, attach this code to this thing, and just whenever a request comes in, run my code.
I see.
But otherwise, don't run my code. I don't need it running all the time.
I see. So that's just the main difference. Like the setup looks very similar, but it's just one is running all the time and the other is on demand.
The setup for if I actually like ran a machine would be like we would have to go get a machine, log into it, upload our code to it. I'd have to set up the daemon that's like running the code. This does all of that for you by just like this is how much it takes to run some code on the internet.
I see.
And that's it.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of serverless. The other beauty is I can write as many of these as I want, and with as much complexity as I want, and deploy as many of them as I want. And if I don't use them, they don't cost me anything. Right? So I can have like all of the league stuff that I did to pull our games and whatnot. It's still up there on the cloud, like just waiting to be executed. And there's a little bit of it that's still executing every night, but the APIs that I wrote, I haven't executed them in a long time. And it doesn't cost me a dime, but it's still ready to use. So anyway.
So you were going to finish connecting this.
Yep. So we add another endpoint, and I hit commit, and unfortunately that's in another application. So
yeah. So we don't need to see it in GitHub, but it would be nice to see what happens on the pipeline once you commit something.
Yep. I'll show you that part. Let me prep for that. So I just pushed it to the origin.
Okay. To the master branch, right?
Yep. And so we can see that.
Do you have to refresh it to show anything?
Nope. We can see that here. I added another endpoint. So then if we just sit on our code pipeline, it's periodically polling. And they have some way of optimizing that for GitHub and whatnot as far as how.
Well, what do you mean periodically pulling? It's not pulling.
Oh, there it goes.
There it is. Okay.
So it pulled the source. It was like really quick, so we didn't see it. But now
I saw the thing change.
Yeah.
The commit number changed.
Yeah.
Wow, and it's already building just automatically.
Now it's building. If we wanted to watch the build, we can watch the build.
You can see the log, right?
Yeah, you can see the log.
Yes,
done.
Netlify does like this too, so that's why I'm kind of like seeing how analogous it is to what I look at pretty much. So
now we're
looks
back
very
on
similar.
this. We're staging the change set because the build's already done. Stages. And another interesting one to look at is this bit, the cloud formation. So we can see here, might be too fast. That's still staging.
Yeah, it looks like it's building.
Okay, so as soon as this happens, I'll show you what that actually means.
Okay.
There it goes. So now the pipeline is in the state of deploying.
Update in progress, yes.
So now this has started to update, and you've got these events coming in here about what it's doing. So it's creating some stuff, and other stuff, and then messing around with things, going. So now the update's complete, and it's cleaning up some stuff, and now it's complete, and we should see this flip over to complete.
Is there a way to view like snapshots or like a previous deploy?
There are ways of managing, yeah.
But it's not within this pipeline right now.
Not within the scope of what I have set up to show you.
Okay, but it's possible. Like,
but it is possible.
But so like, so before you added this route, if I wanted to see the deployment without the route setup,
Yep.
we could have done that. Okay.
So the reason that this has a prod in it, so you could have a stage, for example, and the new change could be coming into stage, and then look at it.
And then you could not have it go to prod until you have that review or something.
Correct.
Okay, so you just don't have it in the pipeline now, but you'd have to put it in there.
It's possible, yeah.
I see. Okay. So that was the question I kind of had earlier about when you made the changes, did it automatically go to deployment? And in this case, it does.
In this case, it does.
Okay, so that's what I was looking for. Like, hey, what if I just want to like stop it at staging, show it to everyone else, and then they say good to go, then we move it to deployment.
But there's
so
another.
You would have to.
So even without changing anything about this project, you could do that with what I gave you. So all you would have to do is come over here, and if I made a branch called staging.
Right. So so that's how I usually do it. I have a development and I have a master. Everything goes into development, and then you'd view the development changes.
Right, and so even with these pipeline, like the pipeline, the way it sits today, if you just deploy this thing again and change this to deploy or development or something like that, and you could staging, you could manage just those two branches in GitHub, and you'd have two of these deployments. They would both say prod, but they would have different addresses. And the pipeline, you'd have two of the pipelines, and that's just how you would operate, right? You'd have your development branch, and you'd have your other branch, and it would just go. There's
a little different.
There's a way of just using master to do that, where you're staging the code that's being deployed instead, and then and utilizing this URL saying staging goes to a different function, and all these things are possible.
Yeah, so the way Netlify does it is I only point, so the one you're showing to me, there's only one pipeline. It's only ever pointing to master. And it doesn't know anything about a development branch, but I do have a development branch in GitHub, and I only make changes and push changes to that, then I do the pull request to the master, right? And in between the pull request from development to master, that's Netlify automatically generates a deployment preview with its own randomly
URLs
generated
and all that stuff.
Yes,
yeah.
So you'd have to set that up for this.
But you're free to do it. You're free to decide. Like if you wanted 7 of those stages for some reason, you could set up 7 of them. If you wanted 0 of them, you could set up 0. If you wanted
But the question is that right now it doesn't have that. You would have to further add all that stuff.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be too hard. It's just like modifications on the same idea.
Okay, and would there be another section on that pipeline or something, or
how would that look like? Yeah, probably. Because
the other one that's because the one you mentioned, you need someone to go in there and manually do it. That's kind of a good feature as well.
Yeah, and I'll show you how to add that in if we get there.
I mean, it doesn't have to be right now, but I was just trying to think of. Like you're saying that there's a lot of these turnkey things, but this is like you're making your own turnkey solution. So you could essentially make the whole process.
Yeah, but the cool thing is that this pipeline that I'm using, this is like a very mild variation off of what I use at work.
Okay.
So you start from this, you add a few things, and you've got the other one. And so you only have to kind of learn this once, and it's super powerful.
Just use it wherever you are, because that is exactly what I'm getting at. Is like later on, maybe in a week or so.
Yep.
If we can not, it doesn't necessarily have to be in one of these kind of sessions. Maybe just like a one-on-one or whatever.
Yep.
If you can help me build a configuration file like the Netlify version I was telling you about. So one for AWS that mimics Netlify, that'd be super cool.
Yeah. Not hard. I've used similar things at work.
Kind of like Hallmark or whatever. All right, sounds good.
Yeah. So where are we at? So we did that, and we deployed the thing. So now, and we added an endpoint. Oh, we didn't check that our endpoint actually worked. So we refresh this, see that that works. And we see that this works. So now we have our thing coming back. No problem.
Yay.
So now you could pretty much write whatever APIs you want. I haven't shown you how to like connect it to a database and stuff like that, but that's like not a very big ask from here. Right. Now you just need to know how to add in, give me a database, and then it'll deploy and get you and connect the database to you.
Sweet.
And that's managed all through this
RDS?
file. No, this file. It would be maybe RDS or maybe you use Dynamo. But now you have this project, as it's deployed right here, gives you a space that's like, okay, I never have to touch this cloud code pipeline really again, unless I want to change how it deploys. But this, anytime I want like something from AWS, I can be like, hey, give me a database. And I go type AWS database, whatever I want, right? Whatever it happens to be. And then when you commit this file, it gets picked up by your code pipeline and it runs this file for infrastructure. And it says, hey, it looks like you changed your infrastructure a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. And it does it. And it deploys all the stuff. And all you have to do is check into GitHub. And that's it.
Yeah. One thing I'm not sure if you mentioned, if you go scroll up real quick. So the whole AWS : thing, where it says AWS Serverless API, is that like their syntax, whatever? What exactly is that?
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, you can take this and you can put this into Google and it, maybe the word. And you can see.
So yeah, what is it exactly? It looks like breadcrumbs to me.
I mean, it more or less is. AWS, this is just how they specify the types. I mean, this is just a type field. And so they've decided that this is how they, it's just a string.
So is that, it's just their convention for their string or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty much this is never not AWS. This is the system, and this is the subsystem.
Okay, but so you're never going to have to figure out what any of that stuff is because it's all predefined. Like I see it's on the left side where it's all Lambda, alias, and all that stuff.
Yeah, you would just come in here, you'd say...
you never have to memorize any of that crap.
I need... Yeah, you never have to memorize it. You just come here and you say, I need an S3 bucket. And so
and that's the type.
Go here, and you go, I need this thing. And you say, the type is that. And you're done.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just wondering what the hell, like, what they were doing with that.
Yeah, it's just their convention.
Okay. All right.
And other than little more things that this project sets up for you, like you're basically done at this point. You can commit to GitHub and change the code and do all that stuff. So, and if we would have just, I mean, when we deployed this file, it didn't really take that long, right? To answer your question from earlier, Henry, like I had these bits and pieces, and this is like a Hello World style app, right? This thing. And so you could do this within 20 minutes if you had this thing already and this.
I don't see your screen.
Oh,
I don't see your screen.
Right. If you had, like, this is Hello World-ish. Same with this thing. And if you already had this from a previous project, you'd like modify it a little bit and then make this up. And there's a little bit of stuff to do in the package.json that's kind of project setup-y. Mostly this little bit here. But other than that, like you're on your way. Like you'd be on your way with a new project.
Yeah.
So you could do it within an hour if you knew the bits and pieces.
And this is specific to this API gateway.
Yeah, so that's probably another thing. So that's using a whole system that is like bigger than
Right, it's using the
what I'm
Lambdas, using Express, Node, and all that.
Oh,
right?
actually, that's probably so. Like our Lambda function, this is our Lambda function that it deployed for us. If we click on it, you can see some monitoring stuff, and you can see that we've been executing this Lambda function. 3 invocations. It took us 43 milliseconds. I think those are. It's 100% uptime success rate, and so on and so forth. So, and then we can also like view some logs for it if we were logging any. So we can see the console, and it's collecting all that together.
Does that cost any money? CloudWatch?
Very little, but it's part of your S3 bill, and if you remember, you have 5 gigabytes of S3 space. You can also do stuff here, like say, so let's say you're worried about that 5 gigabytes. So you can say everything here, and there's ways to audit, but you can say this thing expires after 1 week, so I only hold on to it for a week. And then your 5 gigabytes is pretty safe because you're probably never going to do 5 gigabytes a week. Then there's this thing called X-ray, and I don't think I have it turned on right now, but like it can tell you stuff about how your Lambda function operated. You can then go to like the other thing we're using is API Gateway, and so here's our API Gateway deployment. You can click on it, and you can see you get this kind of nice UI of, oh, what is in my API? Well, I've got this thing, and what does this actually do? It is a method request for this ARN, and it's a Lambda proxy that goes to this Lambda function. This Lambda function is the Lambda function that we were just at. And then what happens? It takes the response, and it doesn't do anything here with it, and it sends it back to the client. And you can do stuff like test it right here, send in some stuff.
Holy crap! They give you so much.
Yeah, I mean, this is all just sitting there. If you want to do stuff like, this is the bit about, okay, here's prod, and here's staging. Staging is the same as prod right now, but they don't have to be. If you wanted to do an authorization layer so that you had to be authorized, they can handle that. You don't have to handle that inside of your code. Most of the time, you'd have to like write an authorization thing and do all that stuff. API Gateway can just do that for you. They'll handle it before it even gets to your code, and they'll say, yep, every request you get will be authorized. What else? Yeah, all this is here. API keys, they'll handle your API key. Custom domain name, like all this stuff is just. And then also you can get a dashboard, and you can say how many API calls am I getting, to what stage, the latency, how's my things going, we return 5x's or 4x's, so on and so forth. And then you can say, and also what's the API. All this is just sitting here, and it's for all intents and purposes free. API Gateway might cost you a little bit, but not much. I think it's in the free tier.
Neat.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
That's it. This is sitting here. That's the URL. Yeah. Other than the like this bit about, you'd have to go to, where would that be? Settings.
I'm gonna add you onto my GitHub so I can find that.
Yeah. I think it's here, developer settings, personal access tokens. So this is the key that I made.
You generate one, right?
You generate one, and then you have to give it enough permissions. I think all I did was give it repo permissions.
Mm-hmm.
and then generated one, and that's the token that I was using earlier.
Okay.
Mhm.
And that's it. You would be able to do
Cool.
whatever you want at that point. And here's the other cool thing. So let's say you're worried about cost and whatnot, and you're like, that's great. I was messing around with this thing. It all worked, but now I'm done. So you just go here, and everything that you did in AWS, or that I did in AWS, is in these two stacks. So I just say, get rid of that one. And the only thing you have to make sure is to do it in the right order. That's in the order that it was created. So this one was created last, so you do it backwards. But
What would happen if you don't? It's just an error? Like others
it's an
depended
error.
on it?
Things get stuck. Resources get stuck because of reasons I won't go into, but it's a pain in the butt.
Okay.
So at least for this project, and so you can see that's gone. And even this one, because it doesn't like to delete S3 buckets that have things in it, because if you accidentally do that with the wrong bucket, it's a big problem. So this one creates an S3 bucket, so when it gets to it, it'll say delete failed. And you say, well, why'd the delete fail? It says, oh, I tried to delete this S3 bucket, and it's not empty. So I say, fine. I will, and this thing helps you out. It's fine. I will handle this S3 bucket. Just delete the stack anyway. And so it does that, and it's gone. And then if I go to S3, my bucket is still here. It's this API Gateway example. And if I look inside of it, it has my builds in it, basically, because it was part of the build system. And so I say, that's great. I really care about it. Get rid of it. Did I do it? Yeah. Yeah. So now it's all gone. So now my my account looks exactly the same as before I even started talking to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This thing doesn't work anymore. Nothing works. But I'm also not on the hook for being charged for anything. So if you would have done that by doing like setting all these things up manually with all the UIs that they have, because everything we did could have been done with a UI. Right. It would have taken longer. You would have clunked through some stuff. It's not repeatable. And when you go to delete everything, when you start having lots of things on these lists and whatnot, then you need to make sure you're deleting the right thing. And how do you do that? It's hard. And this helps out with that. So it's kind of neat. I really like this thing. Probably one of the best things I learned. That's it. Aside from any other questions you have.
So that's what you were looking to learn, Henry, the API Gateway thing specifically?
Maybe not specifically, but just in general. That's definitely one of the things I wanted to learn. Well, setting up a server
like
or
an API
serverless.
server. Yeah.
Yeah. But seeing that pipeline, that was another thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's probably the thing that I took away most from this. But like I said, I'd want more specific at another time.
Yeah.
We can build one for first Gatsby. So I don't know. So is that it for this one, the API Gateway?
Yeah.